All right, Wyatt. So, we may not have done the best of jobs of trying to keep up with this weekend, but hey, we got to bask in the glory of Darlington once again for this Labor Day weekend. And my gosh, two great finishes that we're going to cover.
It's good. This is going to be some really good information. We got surprise winners and another repeat winner, but in an epic finish.
Absolutely. And we're going to cover all that right here on the 15th episode of GTN, Gamers Talk NASCAR Podcast. As always, I'm Elijah Leonard. Over here, that is Mr. Wyatt Walker, the co-host. And, like I said before, and as we were talking about before I did hit the big red button, but before we actually did our little intro spiel, we didn't do the best of job trying to keep up with the races, because I didn't tune into the Xfinity race until their tail end of their rain delay when they were halfway through their second stage. I watched the whole entire Cup race as best as I could, and I just was doing some other things on top of that, and I was also playing Fortnite with Kat and her group. And
I never watched the Xfinity race, and I tried to watch the Cup race, but there was a whole bunch. We were at my girlfriend's parents' house, and other people was playing games and stuff, and then I found a game I was interested in while I was watching the race, so I got distracted. But hey, the finish was really good, and I can't wait to start talking about it.
Let's get down to it. So we're gonna try to break down every event that happened as best as we can in both races. But yeah, as far as the Xfinity race, didn't see a whole lot of it. I know Riley Herbst had his issues before the rains came. They're under a rain delay, came back. The race was mostly calm, but towards the end was really when I really started getting tuned in here, because Sheldon Creed. Let's talk about Sheldon Creed here. It's like near the tail end of the regular season of the Xfinity series. It's like he's flipped a switch, and now he has moved into the Sheldon Creed that we're used to seeing in the Truck series. He came so close but no cigar. But he lost, I think, in the best way possible, and I don't mean that in a mean way for Sheldon Creed, because we know his time is coming. First of all, Kyle Larson. Here's three guys. Again, three guys in that final lap. One guy who's locked in. He's got nothing to lose. So he could go for a win or finish in third. Kyle Larson, just the Cup guy that's there for seat time. And Sheldon Creed, who's driving like he has nothing to lose.
And I think you guys can figure out who won the race. That would be the guy locked in, which is Noah Gragson, and he's also racing to try to get the regular season championship, which coming down, we'll talk about the points later, but I'm almost positive that he's not close, and I'm not sure that Ty Gibbs is close to catching AJ either, but we'll cover that when we get there.
Yeah. I mean, really, to be honest, it's really winding down. It's really winding down on the Xfinity season. How many races left? Three? Two races.
Two races left. We got Kansas and Bristol are the last two races for the Xfinity series before they start their playoffs.
This is going to be interesting for the Xfinity side, and as far as guys like Sheldon Creed, for instance, I mean, hey, if he keeps running like that, I'm pretty sure he might win. Kansas or Bristol, I think, is his two best chances, personally.
And there's been 2 years back-to-back, different series, and we talked about video gaming it.
Right, exactly. 2 years in a row that's happened. Believe it or not. But, oh well.
But yeah, the finish was crazy. Kyle Larson got the worst end of it. I mean, he still finished top 5, but he got finished the worst out of them all. But let's go ahead and run through this the finishing results. Noah Gragson is our winner, getting his fourth career win this season. I fourth win this first win this season. I mean, y'all know what I mean. Sheldon Creed, who came up so close, tried to video game it. I think if he didn't video game it, try to get a good run, I think he would have caught, maybe had a great finish with Noah Gragson. I don't think he would have passed him, but a really good finish.
It was funny because he was saying he felt a tire going down. I think he said it was the right front or right rear, whichever it was. And he knew exactly what to do. As soon as he went into the corner, he turned right, went up against the wall. You saw like all those sparks flying from the car. I was like, is this really going to work? But then his Gragson gassed it and got by him. Like, oh man, it'd be so cool if that worked. That would have been so cool if that worked. But yeah. No. Oh well.
But yeah. Now to a guy who's been having still getting top 10s, mainly top 5s almost every week. I'd say that maybe top 3s almost every week. AJ Allmendinger, another third. Got Justin Allgaier fourth. Kyle Larson fifth. Yeah, Ty Gibbs sixth. Christopher Bell seventh. Josh Berry eighth. John Hunter Nemechek ninth. And Austin Hill ran out top 10. Great finish for RCR. Top 10 for both of those guys. Then you got Sam Mayer, Landon Castle, Daniel Hemrick, Brandon Jones, Ross Chastain, Kyle Weatherman, good top 20. Stephen Parsons, Ryan Sieg, Bailey Curry, Mason Massey, Jeremy Clements, who early on, I think we're going to early on breaking stories on that one. We didn't get to cover till later, but yeah. Jeremy Clements' win did not count.
Which
he got to keep the win, but his playoff spot did not count, so he is not in. He's not locked into the playoffs.
When I saw that, I was thinking to myself, that came so late. What was it? 2 or 3 days out after his win at Daytona?
Yeah,
it was nuts. I was thinking to myself, why didn't they just announce it probably the next day or the next morning?
Probably didn't know about it till then.
Maybe.
But then, yeah, he had an L2 penalty. I don't remember what it was, but it cost it. It didn't cost him the win. He still won the race, but he lost his playoff. He lost his playoff points.
Yep.
And his spot. So now he's like what? Let me see the points. He's now. Yeah, Clemens is now. Where is it at? Somewhere. He's not even barely in the top 20 to even get 8 points. I think he was around like the 180, like a little over 180 something. But now he's just 20 in points. Don't even show anything. So
dang. Sounds like it's that bad.
Kind of sucks on how low he is, but anyways, Ryan Ellis, Ryan Sieg, Jeb Burton, who's still having worse and worse season as the year goes on.
Yeah.
David Starr, Josh Williams, Ryan Vargas, Myatt Snyder, Brandon Brown in the 78. Dawson Cram, I think that's how you say his name.
Dawson Cram?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you got all the guys who DNF'd. Brendan Poole, J.J. Yaley, Joe Graff Jr., Riley Herbst, Ty Dillon, Chris Wright, Anthony Alfredo, and Tommy Joe Martins.
That's sad. But I do want to add on to something about the Clements deal. So I just pulled up the article before we move on to the Cup side of things here, or really the playoff deal for Xfinity. Let's see. The win will no longer stand. The 51 was found in violation of sections 14.6.12K and U of the NASCAR rule book, which pertains to the intake manifold, which is what they got penalized for. Additionally, crew chief Mark Stetzer was fined $60,000, and the team was assessed a loss of 75 owners' points, 75 drivers' points, and 10 playoff points should it still qualify for the postseason, which it looks like it's not. Section K of the rule states that the intake manifold must conform to NASCAR templates, gauges, scales, fixtures, and any and all of other measuring devices, while Section U notes the floor of the intake manifold, plenum, I think that's how you pronounce it, must conform to the NASCAR inspection intake manifold plenum plug gauge. In order to qualify for the 2022 Xfinity playoffs, Clements will need to win at least one of the final 3 races, or now in this case, final 2 races, which looks like that's probably not going to happen at all. So I hate to say that, but that is why part of what I just read there with sections K and U is why he got penalized. And he had his crew chief fined $60,000 and had a loss of 75 owners and drivers points, as well as 10 playoff points in the season. So that is the severe penalty that Jeremy Clements just suffered.
So that kind of sucks because I was really hoping to see how that would upset the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it would have made it far, unfortunately, but it would be interesting.
It really would have been.
Come on.
You having some technical issues?
Now I can't hear anything.
Oh, there it is. There it is. There's the technical issue. First one of the episode.
I keep pressing stuff, and the next thing you know, it keeps messing up.
Nice.
But, so now let's move over to the Cup. Let's move over to, actually, no, let me go over to the Xfinity points real quick while I'm at it. So, like I was mentioning with the regular season points, I took them off, so I can't remember what number of points there are now, but AJ Allmendinger is still leading the regular season championship right now, over like 50 something over Ty Gibbs.
Okay.
I think it's like 53 or something. I don't remember.
I can look.
Yeah, you can look.
So, with regular season points, he's leading over by 51 over Ty Gibbs.
51. So, and about like what 90 what over
90. So it's 92 over Noah Gragson.
Help to not message people while I'm trying to do stuff, and it's messing up. Like I can't help it.
No, I'm not sponsored by Huntington, guys. I promise. A little Huntington. I have the points pulled up on the screen, and the ad for Huntington just popped up. I'm not sponsored by Huntington, guys. Jeez. No, but he's 92. But Allmendinger is 92 above Noah Gragson.
Which it's kind of surprising. Like Allmendinger does have 3 wins, but yet he can't even. But yeah, no. Ty Gibbs was 5, and Noah Gragson was 4. They're barely a race or 2 behind, which can't get the regular season. Ty Gibbs is close enough to get it, but I don't think he'll get it.
From the looks of things, I think the only race I think Allmendinger would be able to lock up the regular season championship. I mean, it's most likely going to be Bristol. I mean, if he manages to lock up the Xfinity regular season title at Kansas by getting enough points in stages 1 and 2, and finishes well enough in the race, maybe. I mean, but that's the only other way I see him locking up the regular season title as early as Kansas and as late as Bristol.
Agreed.
But
And looking at the points now, we talked about him being locked in with the regular season champion. Why not some of these guys be locked in on points? Look at some. You got Riley Herbst, who has 112 points ahead of the cutoff. Sam Mayer, 109. Daniel Hemrick, 54. Castle, 34. Honestly, I think Herbst and Mayer should have been locked in by now.
they're most likely going to get locked in after Kansas. I'm calling it.
I think Hemrick and Castle are too. Unless Castle has a bad race. If Hemrick and Castle have a bad race, then it should be close. But I don't think it will really upset the points all that much.
No.
It'll be more effect on Ryan Sieg than it will Sheldon Creed because Sieg's 16 ahead and Creed's 16 below.
Yeah.
But then again, you could have a surprising winner. You still have Brandon Brown down are must wins. Brown and Alfredo are both tied with 97. Mike Snyder is 172.
I don't see any of them winning.
I don't either. Sheldon Creed's the only chance I see.
Yeah. Sheldon Creed, to me, is the only, I hate to really say this, believable guy that I think could win either Kansas or Bristol to lock himself in and bump Ryan Sieg out.
Sieg has been falling off here lately. That's how Sieg's been falling off and Creed's been building up.
Yeah.
That's how he's able to get. That's how that Creed was able to catch up to Sieg closely. Hemrick and Castle ain't doing all that well either, and they're starting to fall behind as well. I don't think as bad. They just need to have moderate good races. I think they're fine, but Sieg needs to be careful.
So Ryan Sieg really is. I think he really is on the cusp. He's on the cusp of either pulling off the run of his life in these final two races to lock himself in, or if it's just one slip up between now and Bristol that's going to get him knocked out. And Sheldon Creed most likely will pounce on it because, like I said before, Sheldon Creed and that number 2 team has flipped a switch near the end of the season to where all of a sudden, here they are. Like, here's Sheldon Creed. He's here. This is the Sheldon Creed that a lot of people that have been following him have been really wanting to see since the Truck Series.
Agreed. We're hoping to see him do really good and might be a potential, I'd say, round of 8 threat if he makes it in.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I don't see him. I don't see a Final Four threat out of Creed. I don't see it. I do see he does make a round of 8 threat.
Yeah. But if he does make it to round of 4, that would be awesome.
He ain't gained the championship, I'll say that much. But it will be pretty good.
Yeah. Pull off what he did 2 years ago.
All right, now let's move on to the Cup Series, and oh man.
This, I think, what we saw, for the Cup race, solidifies basically what Josh, our special guest from a few weeks ago, was saying. Darlington never disappoints. And by gosh, what did we see? What did we see?
We saw a lot of stuff.
We saw there's a lot. Okay, so even going into the race, there was a lot of information that we were just hit with. So first of all, we're kind of putting in some breaking stories, kind of incorporating them into this race. Bubba Wallace. Let's talk about him first of all. Yeah. He jumped into the 45 because the 45 is eligible for the owner's title. And so
for the rest of the year.
For the rest of the year, which means Ty Gibbs, depending on how long he's going to be in that car, is going to be in the 23. And depending on if and or when Kurt Busch comes back, either for this year, He'll be in that 23 for the rest of the year.
which is pretty crazy. And looking at the paint schemes, it looked weird.
It was so odd.
I did not like seeing. I guess just me personally, I think I'm just used to seeing like the 54 or like the 45 having the Monster Energy logo on it.
But
Seeing it on the 23,
I was thinking,
I like it.
I didn't know how to really feel about it because it's like, you normally would see that. You normally would see the 23 paired up with a Dr. Pepper sponsorship, but that's it.
No, and just the 45 is, I forgot what the sponsor was. It was like an orange.
Oh my gosh.
Sponsor.
Well, I don't even know. I forgot what the sponsorship was, but that car looked pretty cool. No, not gonna lie.
It did look good, but it just felt wrong.
It felt weird. But let's get into some of the stuff that went down in this race. This was not a good start for the Chasers.
How about we just get, before we go to the green flag, Daniel Suarez failed inspection, 3 times before qualifying?
3 times.
Did not get to qualifying and end up having to go through a pass through on the, the second.
Yeah, he started the race and then came down pit road on lap 1.
So he was already a lap down. Thankfully, a caution happened for a little bit of rain. Nothing.
It was just like
rain delay.
It was like a little drizzle. So I mean, they were able to just keep the cars out there, and it was fine after that. But yeah, like I said, this was not a good race for the Chasers whatsoever.
And let me just say this before we start talking about any more. The playoff points, if they weren't all bunched up together, then they're bunched up now. And there's no clear favor. Like, you mess up, you're going to be below the point. And our driver we're going to mention is the top guy on the list. I'm going to say about that.
Who was the first guy to go out?
Chase Elliott, the guy who won the regular season champion, got involved, spun out in turn 1?
He spun out and ended up getting tangled up with Chase Briscoe, and in the process, Elliott ended up breaking a toe link and some other parts in the rear end of the car. Crab walked the car all the way back to the pits, put on the damaged vehicle policy clock for 10 minutes, which I didn't know actually.
That's a new rule. Another breaking story. That's a new rule the NASCAR's put out because for the next gen car and the playoffs. So
which I'm glad. I'm glad to see that.
Got a little segue out of the way.
Because the next gen car is they're still trying to figure out what to do, like when it comes to navigating your way around the damage clock. But unfortunately, they were not able to get the mechanical damage fixed in time. Therefore, Chase Elliott out of the race on lap 113. It says here, lap 113. Chase Elliott retired from the race.
Yeah, which kind of sucked, and that really brought down his points down to he was in the 30s. Now he's 14 above the cutoff. So He had a bad race. He might be below that cutoff not that long ago.
Briscoe kept going, so he finished the race 2 laps down. But let's keep going with some of the other chasers. Kevin Harvick's car caught fire. Harvick's car caught fire, and it took NASCAR 50 trillion years to throw the caution.
That's not even the one before that. Larson's engine expired the same way it did at Daytona.
But listen, Larson had a bad race. Had engine issues, and then later on spun out. What else?
He got a good finish at the end of it, but it's he's not a playoff guy, but you cannot feel more and more bad about this guy. Mark Truex Jr.
Yeah.
led a bunch of the laps, and then he had a water pump issue that took him out of the race.
He also was losing power steering, from what I heard too.
Yeah.
So he went out lap 336. 9 laps later, under caution, Kyle Busch blows a motor in the lead while under caution. Led 155 laps. And this man's car blew up in the lead under yellow, putting the lead first place in the lap of Eric Jones,
who, spoiler, won the race and had a playoffs. I wouldn't say playoff spoiler, but just like
it's shock factor.
And and I just saw a post on this on Twitter not that long ago. Two of the most famous numbers in NASCAR won 2 weeks in a row.
And let's also add on to this here.
And two of the most popular tracks. I'm sorry, I had to put that
out. Let's add this on here for the 43. A couple things to note here. For the first time since September 4th, 1967, the 43 goes to victory lane at Darlington. And not only that, that is the 200th win for the 43.
And also to add on, that is the first. Well, let's put the petty part in front of it first. That is their first win since 2014, since Eric Almirola won at Daytona.
Yeah.
But you put the petty GMS part in it too. That's their first win together.
Yeah.
So another new team the last 2 years has won.
And we knew. Okay, so with the way that Eric Jones and that 43 team was performing this year, they were up at the front more than we've seen them. Like Eric Jones, we've seen for up front for the first time, like at a consistent basis for the first time since 2 years ago. But for the 43, I'd say for the first time in a while, like that petty GMS was performing extraordinary this year. And with the way that they were performing all throughout this year, we said it would be awesome to see them win. Like, he was going to win a race. And here we are.
And by golly, he did and won one of the crown jewel races. Twice, his second crown jewel race, I might add.
And might I also add, the second youngest driver to win multiple Southern 500s.
Who was the first one?
I would have to say Jeff Gordon.
Yeah,
I think it's Jeff Gordon. Somebody may have to correct me on that.
I would believe that. We may look that up later, probably edit that, but that is pretty cool information to know. But even then, that is a great story beginning. I was actually kind of hoping that the guy who finished second, I was not hoping he'd get it, but the guy behind him is the guy I was really hoping. But let's go through the orders and I'll say the names. So Eric Jones is our playoff spoiler, and one for Page GMS. Just imagine if he won Daytona.
Yeah.
So imagine he won Daytona, was the last one to get in, bump out Truex, but then Blaney was still able to get in, but then next week he wins Darlington and already he's in the round of 12. I doubt anyone would have put Eric, unless you really think about it and would really put him in there.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people would either have him out in the 16 or make it around the 12 because of how well they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
And that win would have solidified that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, my.
Let's go ahead and go through the finishing results. Eric Jones is our winner. Congrats to him. Really happy for Petty GMS. First win for Petty GMS as a combined organization, but first win since 14 for the Petty.
8 years since the 43 has gone to victory lane.
And then Denny Hamlin came up second. We had a really good run with him too. Tyler Reddick, I was really hoping would just pass Hamlin, would have caught Jones. I think Reddick could have won. Reddick could have won that race. I was really
Very
hoping
well could if he had the car.
He did. Joe Logano came home with another top 5 finish. two Darlington races. He won last time, and now he got fourth place. Congrats to him. Christopher Bell had a really good finish. He gets fifth. Notable non-playoff contenders. Michael McDowell sixth. He ran up front most of the time. How about Brad Keselowski?
Yeah. He's
Seventh.
that's good. That is a good result. It's a good result for that 16.
I'm skipping eighth place real quick. We go to ninth place to Bubba Wallace. Still another consistent run for him. Doing really well. Now for eighth and 10th. William Byron, who led a good amount at the beginning of the race, and then Alex Bowman somehow snuck a top 10.
Yeah, and I thought William Byron was going to be out of the race early because of the issues that he was having, but nope. Here he is, eighth place. Alex Bowman I didn't even suspect him at all. Shows up in the top 10.
Weirdly enough, the two Hendrick guys everyone expected to do really good had issues. One was able to finish, come up with a spoiler. Larson got 12th, but then got the other two who got finished 8th and 10th. That really helps their point.
It helps them a lot. I'm still surprised Kyle Larson was able to recover and finish 12th. I'm surprised by that.
Another notable non-playoff guy, Eric Almirola, gets 11th. Mm-hmm. As we mentioned, Larson got 12th. Ryan Blaney comes home to a 13th. Cole Custer was running in the top 10 at one point.
Mm-hmm.
Cole Custer had himself a really good race. Ty Gibbs came up 15th. Austin Cindric came up 16th. Austin Dillon 17th. Daniel Suarez. After that, he actually was running top 5 at one point.
Yeah.
I was telling myself, if Daniel Suarez won that race, how much of a story would that have been?
Would have been huge. That would have been history making, I think.
That would have been history making. I would have loved to see that victory. That would have been the one I would have been happy to see. An epic comeback from having a lap down penalty, then you're running up front, then you win the race.
Yeah.
In your first ever playoff start, I might add.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty cool for Suarez, and then Justin Haley got 19th. Ross Chastain had issues too. He was having mechanical failures too, but he still ended up with the top 20.
Still a good result.
Harrison Burton, 21st. Ironically, his number.
I was just about to say
that. Ty Dillon, 22nd. Daniel Hamrick, 23rd. You got the Spire boys. Corey LaJoie was actually starting to run top 10 again.
He was running 6th at one point from last I saw. 6th place. Like he actually was holding his own in 6th place at one point in the race, which was really impressive to me.
Corey LaJoie was a guy is like a secret dark horse at the Southern 500 Darling.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 years in a row. He's actually run up front. Not competing for wins, unfortunately, but was running up front close.
Yeah, he was up there.
That would have been really cool to see.
Yeah.
On that. Then you got Landon Castle, 25th. Chris Buescher, I'm actually surprised he didn't do all that well. And we mentioned the issue with Chase Elliott. He came up and collected Briscoe, which he still was able to continue, but kind of killed his day.
Yeah.
Which he still limped home to 27th. You got Todd Gilliland, BJ McLeod, and then you got Kyle Busch, who had that engine issue. Truex with the water pump. Cody Ware was involved in an accident. Kevin Harvick was up in flames, literally. I didn't really hear much about what happened to J.J. Yeley. Ricky Stenhouse had an accident too. And then Chase Elliott on the damaged vehicle policy just ran out. And like I said, the points were all crazy. That was an understatement. you look at the playoffs now. You see how they were at the beginning, how they were. Now you look at how the playoff shifts. Currently, Logano is in the top seed with 38 points.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott went from being the top seed with 30 points, like over 30 points where Logano is, he's dropped down to the ninth seed, only 14 above. Think about this. How many points you get for regular season? 15?
I think so.
Think about this for a minute. He has 14 above. Take away the 15, he is one below. He would have been one below in the below the cutoff.
Yeah.
Those 15 points are what's saving his bacon right now.
Just keeping his bacon nice and warm.
And look at these points. William Byron's 32nd in the points. I think a lot of the people had him out. And he's currently in the second seed with 32 above. Hamlin is 30 points above, which is everyone expected that, especially these guys. Christopher Bell, 28. Tyler Reddick, 23. Ryan Blaney, 20. And then you get to these guys, who is close, more close than I've actually seen it. Larson is 17. Chastain is 15. Elliott's 14. Bowman 10. Kyle Busch 8th. Daniel Suarez 2. And they're all above. And then you get to these guys. Austin Cindric's 2 below. Dylan's 4. Briscoe with the issue. He's down by 10. And the guy who took the biggest hit, Kevin Harvick, out by 13. I actually think it's 14. I have to look back at the points. But he is out that low.
Yeah. Whew. That's nuts.
And that's just the first race of the playoffs.
Let me tell you something. I really do think for the guys that are like single digits above and below, I'd be concerned. First of all, as far as the single digits above, I'd be really concerned for somebody like Kyle Busch. Because let's be honest. He was super dominant with this format at one point. Not like Jimmy Johnson level dominant before we went to the elimination style format, but he was dominant, right? So he could get in. He can get in there. He can mess things up. Get up as far as the round of 8, and even get up into the final 4.
Than the others.
Yeah, absolutely. But as far as the guys that are single digits, like Austin Cindric 2 below, Austin Dillon 4 below. Cindric, I have a little bit more faith in than Austin Dillon, and I'm not saying that because I'm a fan. I'm saying that because I feel like he has more consistency than Austin Dillon does.
I do agree on that.
But as far as Chase Briscoe, I think he could probably somehow depend on some other drivers to have some bad days, and he could probably sneak his way back in. Harvick, I'm not too sure of, but I'm pretty sure he'll probably win somewhere.
Harvick needs a great race at both Kansas and Bristol. Bristol I see more, but the question is it too late for him? That is my concern.
I'll say this. Sorry. I'll say this. If he doesn't get a good performance at Kansas, but suddenly performs good at Bristol, then it would be too late. If he performs perfectly, if he performs near flawless at Kansas and Bristol, he's going to be okay. Same thing for Cindric, same thing for Briscoe. Don't have faith in Austin Dillon at all. I really don't.
I agree with you. He was the first guy I mentioned was going to be out, and you mentioned that. You mentioned if he has a bad race at Kansas, but it's a really good race. Depends how really good that race is. He can easily go and win. He almost won last year.
Mm-hmm.
If he and Elliott didn't have that little tangle, he was able to make it through, but he wasn't. But after that, he was out in around the 12th.
I'll say that's a race that he should have won, but I eventually digress.
I was actually I was actually happy when Larson won that race because
Oh, me too.
I was waiting for the day Larson won that race in the Cup Series.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tracks I'm waiting for Larson to win in the Cup Series that he's been dominant at.
Yeah. Yeah,
Two
that's the
in
part I
particular is
digress on.
Darlington. Two in particular is Darlington and Homestead.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and back on going back on what we on this conversation, Harvick could still win Bristol if he had a bad race at Kansas. That would put him in a must-win situation.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
and you mentioned Harvick. Think about our regular season champion, Chase Elliott. He
The,
had a bad race. He went from first seed all the way to ninth seed. And
those
now think about it, he has a bad race at Kansas. He will be below the cutoff, hoping to have a great race at Bristol.
hoping to win in Bristol.
Exactly.
So
Kyle Larson, same boat too. Kyle Busch. I don't think a lot of people had him. A lot of people had him making it to the round of 12, but think about this for a minute. He don't have a good race at Kansas. He's good at Bristol, but we don't know how these next gen cars is.
we don't know how
Yes,
it's going to do on the concrete. Absolutely. So
yes, yes, he won Bristol Dirt, but I still think that's a Mickey Mouse win. Tyler Reddick should have won that race.
yep.
But but think but going back, Kyle Busch hasn't really had good races.
No.
He's been running up front, but he's never able to actually get it done.
Yeah.
And short tracks he hasn't been up there as much. I'm not sure I would count Gateway as a short track.
Yeah. I don't know. It kind of acts like one, but I still I don't know if you could count that or not. But I'll say this: when it comes to the guys that you've listed between Chase Elliott and Larson, from obviously from the looks of things, Larson somehow is in well, yes, of course. I mean, not somehow, but because of the circumstances that happened to Darlington, he's in a better spot than Chase Elliott is to probably make it just survive through Kansas and Bristol. Then he'd be okay. But
here's Larson's issue. Larson's issue is happened 2 weeks in a row. One he managed to still continue on, but they need to figure out what the hell is going on because that is twice he's had the same engine issue. Was able to get it fixed for the race for obvious reasons, but Larson needs to figure out what's going on because if that keeps going on, then he's going to start dropping like
yeah,
Chase Elliott, and you will end up seeing like the surprise of Cindric and Dillon moving up there, moving up. Like Elliott and Larson both have bad days. Then you have a hungry Cindric and Dillon that can come up and take that spot. Kyle Busch can bump up Briscoe. Maybe even Harvick has good races, but that's still a lot of stuff to happen. This is just the first race.
this is only the first race, and all of this stuff went down again at the first race. Which, let's think about this for a moment. With the Gen 6, we wouldn't be in this predicament.
No, we won it.
No,
We would know. We would know.
no, because it would have been obvious. Like, say, with the Gen 6, of course, Hamlin would have won. He would have been number one seed. A lot of the other guys that had problems, they would have probably been up there. Truex would have made it. If at Daytona, he probably would be up there. But no, this is the thing. This is part of what I love about drama and just the absolute chaos in racing. It shook up the Chase lineup. And this is only race one.
And just imagine like how it's going to go. Kansas, I think it's just going to be a call. Like I don't think it's going to be really intense, like Darlington was. But Bristol's going to be the most intense if you are not locked in.
Oh,
And I can say this now, and I am unbiased in everything. Look, Logano, Byron if he has a really good race, Hamlin, Bell, Reddick, Blaney may not be all six of them, but I could say between them, there's going to be some people locked in the next round just by having a great race here, staying out of trouble, and we'll have a great race at Kansas.
Yeah.
Logano, Hamlin, Bell, and Reddick are the main ones I can confidently say will have some great races and will be locked in.
Yeah.
Byron, Byron was good at the start of the year, but it's like, then again, he did win lead laps. That's why I'm kind of weighing that option too. Blaney's an iffy as well, but there's no doubt, like, with Logano's good at Kansas. Hamlin's good at Kansas. Christopher Bell is pretty good at being consistent. Tyler Reddick can run the wall really good, and he have a good race.
Yeah.
These are guys I can tell Kansas will be really good and will lock them in to the round of 12.
Mm-hmm.
But then you got to worry about guys like guys you got to worry about, like Kyle Larson, who's good at Kansas. He could get a win, lock himself in too, but have a bad race, they're screwed. Elliott's won Kansas, but I'm not sure how confident I feel now. Ross Chastain, he's starting to go downhill, not just because everyone's going after him, but just all these guys have different stories on a second race.
Yeah.
Harvick is good at Kansas too. He could probably get some good points, but that's if nothing happens.
Yeah. But yeah, this going into Kansas, this is gonna be. I think Kansas and Bristol, we're gonna have to keep our eyes on those two races for the Cup side.
Exactly.
Because with the next gen car, and with the drama, excitement, and the chaos that it's brought in only the first race of the chase in round one. Think of what it'll do in the next two in round one.
No. Go bigger. Think about the rest of the 9 weeks.
Well, I mean, yes, but we don't know. We don't know yet. Exactly. But that's something to think about.
And there's one race that we haven't even raced at all with the next gen car to throw in a monkey wrench as well. And I'm not talking about the Charlotte Roval. We've seen how it works on road courses. I'm talking about Homestead,
Miami. Yeah.
We've raced at every other track in the Cup schedule for the season except Homestead.
That's, I think, once we get to that point, that's a race actually we're gonna have to watch. When we get to that point, that is, so should be interesting. But
there is some tracks that will be kind of a snooze fest. We kind of know what will happen all that much. Texas is a perfect example. I think you can add Vegas in that as well. Martinsville, maybe.
Well, to be fair,
I can't hear you, hon.
Anyways,
randomly quiet.
But really, to be fair, I think you would agree. Did you really see Alex Bowman winning Vegas in the way that he won it?
No.
So I mean, that's so really, Vegas to me really wasn't that much of a snooze fest, to be quite honest with you, this year.
I mean, but you get what I meant by that.
Kind of.
Yeah, you get what you meant. What I meant.
Kind of, yeah. But anyways,
But you think about the other races I mentioned, and then
Anyways, yeah. But we'll get to those races later. I don't know if we have any other breaking stories.
I'd say the most breaking story currently is about the guy who crashed. One of the big names who crashed. Kyle Busch still don't have a ride, but said he's having an announcement going to be made soon. And he has a bunch of different options he's weighing.
Yeah.
That is something I do want to talk about. Thinking about all the options that are weighing on him.
Yeah. I mean, it's picking up. Business is picking up. We're already in September. 9 races left in the season. we still have no idea where a 2-time Cup champion with 60 wins to his resume, then some, we have no idea where he's going. Still, which is, it's nuts. It's nuts. The drama in just trying to figure out where he's gonna go, or try to predict it, or try to get some like inside scope. It's, I don't know how to describe it. This is honestly, I've never been a fan for of the 20 years that I've been a fan of the sport. I've never seen so much, just a cloud of like uncertainty around a driver as big as Kyle Busch. Not 1 year, in my personal opinion. Not one single year.
And think about the option he's weighing right now. To name a few, of course, Joe Gibbs Racing. You got Joe Gibbs Racing 18. That's the biggest one.
Yep.
Then you got 2311. I'd say not as huge, but determines what happens. I'd say that's an issue. RCR has mentioned some comments as well. Colleague Racing is like the dark horse pick, which I think if that happens, then you have a pretty good lineup for younger drivers for the coming up in the series.
It sounds like it, yeah.
But just those are the main options. Stewart Haas was an option, but it looks like they're all set.
Their
crew's all set.
They're all set. Of course, they're all set because Almirola fell back on his word with retirement, which very understandable on his part. The racing bug can come back and bite you if you let it. And Cole Custer's there because of his dad. So,
Yeah. But you think about this and just how in the world is this not figured out yet? And
yeah.
I'd say this is the top 4 rides. The top 4 rides on the list. So, and that just brings the question: is it just going to be that? Especially for the RCR, are they going to let Reddick go early and Kyle Busch take over the 8, or are they going to add a car like a 30, like a 31, 33? Or I heard something random. I don't know where I seen this, but someone mentioned the 29.
That would be an interesting number to see come back.
Just this is a lot of speculations on this, and it's like, what is all this going to do?
It sounds like that this obviously is a huge deal. A huge deal. So, I mean, if RCR, if it is going to be RCR, then yeah, that does beg the question of, does this mean that RCR is going to, Childress is going to work some deals with 2311 to get Tyler Reddick packing his bags for 2311 early and have Kyle Busch get in the 8 car, or make that third car, whether it be a 29 or a 31 or a 33, and run that car until Tyler Reddick leaves.
How about add this equation as well? If Kyle Busch leaves, and let's say they keep him the 8. They keep the 8 for Reddick, but Kyle Busch ends up making a deal with 2311. Kurt Busch stays again. What? No, they'll have to find another charter and have that be like the 50. Probably number be like 32 or 54. Kyle Busch.
I see him in the 54 more than I do at 32, to be honest. But
that
be the case?
I do too, but you just have to think about that for a minute. Just like, even then, just like adding another car. Colleague is the same way.
Yeah.
Colleague, they may just have him in the 16, but just think about like adding another number, which, in my opinion, for other series wise, Colleague Racing is, my honest opinion, the best option. Maybe RCR is another good one too, higher team. But you think about Colleague Racing for a minute.
Yeah.
They're the most underdog team in not only the Cup Series, but the Xfinity Series. They've shot up like a rocket. since 2019. Since 2019, they shot up like a rocket.
Mm-hmm.
And just think about this: you have some truck guys training and working their way up. Then you move up to college racing, try to learn, Xfinity side, learn, and then move up to the Cup Series and race for college racing in the Cup Series. Same could be said for RCR.
Mm-hmm.
So Chevy looks like it's the best lineup on there. Toyota, I'd say kind of same boat. Move to go to Joe Gibbs and all that, but still a packed deal with all if you think about that.
Yeah. And I'll say this. Depending on where Kyle goes, which is highly likely with as many Chevy teams as there are right now that are knocking on his door, if he goes to a Chevy team, that means, of course, his truck team is going to be backed by Chevy. And on the truck side, that's going to help the Chevy teams a long way. A long way.
And keep this in mind as well. That's going to only leave 2 Toyota teams in the truck series.
Yeah.
Hattori and ThorSport.
If we want to get technical here,
If you want to get technical,
Hill Motorsports.
Hill, yeah.
What's this team? The 30 team. What was it? On Point Motorsports.
On point, but you get my drift. The main
Josh Rayome's team. J2G Racing. Halmer Friesen Racing.
I forgot about. Wait, I forgot about that. Okay, no, that's another top team too. I actually forgot about that. I forgot they were the top team. So that's 3 top teams competing for it, and you had 4. And you have most of the truck. We're going to talk trucks too. They're racing tonight, so we're definitely going to talk trucks. But if you look at the playoffs right now, look at the playoff grid right now. You have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 out of the 10 trucks are Toyotas in this playoffs.
Yeah, that's nuts.
I'm correct if I did that math right. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Oh, 7. No, 7.
Yeah, that is 7.
Only 1 Ford and 2 Chevys.
Even with 3 competitive Toyota teams, they're still going to be really competitive.
There's there's 3. So that had a really good Toyota group in the truck series, but just now, take that back and just put Chandler Smith and John Nemechek in the Chevy camp. That would bring that to an evened out. 5 Toyotas, 4 Chevys, and then 1 Ford.
Yeah.
That would. It's still mind-boggling right now, just all this. So I don't know what else to say. It's this is crazy.
That really is nuts.
And just, you would think a driver change could affect all the series, but now
it's just yeah. Now it's kind of like, oh boy. Yeah, I think as far as the Kyle Busch story going around, that's been the biggest deal all year ever since this kind of sprung up. Yeah, that's pretty much the only other breaking stories, including the other ones that we kind of incorporated throughout our recaps. But all right, it's time. it's time for Kansas. Oh boy. All 3 series are going to be racing. For the truck series, what is this? Is this their cutoff race?
It's their cutoff race.
This is their cutoff race. So they've had a month to prep for this. Xfinity, this is their penultimate race before their regular season finale. And for the Cup side, this is their penultimate race before their cutoff at Bristol this next weekend. Not this coming weekend, but the following weekend. So, Wyatt, coming into Kansas, what are we looking for?
Let's start with the truck series real quick. Let's start with the truck series and the points. We already know that Chandler Smith and Grant Enfinger are locked in with wins in each consecutive race. I honestly think Zane Smith and John Hunter Nemechek, maybe even Ty Majeski, are locked into the next round by their points alone.
Yeah.
And you have to now look at the other guys. Like, you got Stuart Friesen 31. I think he may be locked in by stage 1. Ben Rhodes, stage 2. But then this is if he has no trouble. Either one has no trouble, I should say. But this is where it gets interesting. Matt Crafton is only up by 3. Carson Hocevar only down by 3. Christian Eckes down by 6. I honestly do not remember who I have eliminated out of the first round. I think I had Edfinger and Crafton. I think I had Edfinger and Crafton eliminated. And right now they're both above the cut. They're both above the cut line. One has a win, so he's making it.
Yeah.
But the others, look at all these other, all the other ones. Just this one's going to be a really good race, and there's going to be guys locked in. I honestly see Zane Smith locking in where he qualifies.
Yeah.
Wherever he qualifies, as soon as he starts the race, I think him and Nemechek might be locks.
It's looking possible. And then as far as echoing to your point, I'm thinking Ty Majeski and Stuart Friesen will lock in by the end of stage 1. Ben Rhodes potentially at the end of stage 2, or if he doesn't do all that well, if he doesn't do well in either stage 1 or 2, point in by the end of the race.
And he has to have some good stage points to do good.
Yeah.
To lock in. But I think Ben Rhodes is safe. If he has no issues, I think Ben Rhodes might be fine.
Yeah.
But the main race is going to come between Matt Kraft and Carson Hocevar, Christian Eckes. And can we just point out that this is the second time we're talking about Crafton and a cut up in like a point situation of making in and making out again this year?
Yep.
First was to make it in the playoffs, and now he's trying to stay alive in the playoffs.
And he's going up. This is a race where if nothing happens to either, let's see, any driver that is not 40 above in points that are in a really good window to lock themselves in, like Crafton's in trouble. Because the thing is, he might barely squeak by with Hocevar, not Eckes.
Eckes is a surprise, honestly. I actually thought Eckes was going to be doing really well in this season, but you just look how he's been doing in the playoffs. He is not doing as good as we thought he was going to do.
Yeah.
Hocevar has a few bad races. That one I can kind of get back, but at the same time, the only one who don't really surprise me as much is Matt Crafton.
Yeah.
Crafton is the only guy I am not surprised with of where he's at. Hocevar and Eckes, I am kind of surprised more on Christian Eckes than I am on Carson Hocevar, how he's been doing.
Yeah.
Beginning of the season.
So I mean, we'll see what happens. But getting back onto our expectations, what are we looking for?
I'd see a lot of great battles, especially for like not just on the racing but on the points. And like we mentioned, trucks. I honestly think yes, Xfinity is important between the Ryan Sieg and Sheldon Creed,
Hmm.
but the playoff guys, especially trucks, are going to be watch and the Cup Series.
Yeah. Exactly. So.
Okay, the sound just cut off randomly again.
Oh man, how many times now has that been?
Three.
Three.
May need to try to get a new computer.
Hey, if you ever want to get a block PC, just don't get one that's business purposed. Oh my, that's funny. That's funny. But yeah, so here we go with our predictions on all three series. This should be interesting. So of course, for those that are brand new and don't know how we do our predictions, here's how we do them. Driver to win. Pretty simple and very self-explanatory. Driver to stay away from is basically I forgot the definition of my driver to stay away from again. Driver to stay away from is the driver that hasn't been doing well the last couple of weeks, or we're just coming up to a track to where they suck at. There we go. That is the definition. Dark horse is the exact opposite of the driver to stay away from. So, for trucks, it's going to be I think this is going to be a race to keep your eyes on when it comes to the cutoff. Xfinity and Xfinity and Cup are also going to be ones to keep an eye on. But I think the Cup race, is going to be slightly more interesting because of the next gen and just with the mystery that I think it brings into the chase. But here we go. Wyatt, you are up first.
So, like I did before, I'm going with both the trucks and the Cup Series. I'm just going playoff drivers only. So, Truck Series is the big one, but I usually go dark horse up, but for this one, I'm going to go regular way. So, because I want to get this out of the way, he's going to get locked in by the beginning of the race. Let's get this out of the way, and he's going to go back-to-back Kansas races. I think Zane Smith is going to win.
Yeah.
He's going to get locked in, going to get his fourth win. I think Zane Smith is going to be the guy to get it done. To stay away, driver, I think I'm just going to get... He's going to get eliminated. I think Christian Eckes. I think Christian Eckes.
Very interesting.
Did we also add who we predict to be eliminated as well?
Didn't we do that? I feel like we did when the grid was already set up.
When the grid was set, we kind of made like before race predictions, but now we're at the final.
Yeah, sure.
But I think Eckes is going to be one of the guys eliminated, and I don't think he's going to do good. So Eckes is the guy who's out, and he's my stay away. And I think my dark horse is going to be Ty Majeski. He ran good last year. He could fight Zane Smith for the win, and I think he'll do good. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be Christian Eckes, and I'm going with Matt Crafton are getting eliminated.
Yeah.
Now for the Xfinity Series, which is now the they're not just regular playoff guys, but okay. I think I got a good one, and I hope he's in the race. Okay, so now I'm going to go back regular to my regular deal. My dark horse, if he's in the race, I'm pretty sure he is, but I'm not 100% positive.
Yeah.
Sammy Smith is my dark horse. Compared to what we saw at Michigan and how well he done, he could have a great chance to have a great race at Kansas.
Yeah.
And Kansas has been known to be where first time winners pop up out of the blue. So I think Sammy Smith might be the guy to keep an eye on if he's in the race.
Yeah.
If he's not in the race, Brandon Jones. I said the wrong Brandon by accident. I'm sorry.
You never know. Brandon Brown could perform pretty well.
Brandon Brown could do good too, but I meant to say Brandon Jones, who has won there twice, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So Brandon Jones is a guy I would consider dark horse if his teammate Sammy Smith is not in the race.
Yeah.
We don't have the entry list up, so we don't really know. So
Dang it, J-Ski.
my driver to stay away from Jet Burton. More and more, the race has gone by. It's showing he's more and more. And I want to point something out.
Yeah.
We'll look at the points real quick. At one point, we had all three Our Motorsports in the below the cutoff with Sheldon Creed around that area too. And now look at it. There's only one left.
Yeah.
And he's tied with Brandon Brown.
He'll easily break that tie, but I think that's the best that he's going to do.
So
Anthony Alfredo we're referring to, by the way, just in case people don't know.
But my driver to win, this is hard. Like, we have not raced. We race at Kansas once a year in Xfinity Series. There's always it's unpredictable who we think is going to do good.
Yeah.
I don't think Brandon Jones is winning. He's won there twice, but I don't see it. I'm just going to... I know his teammate's going to try and dominate, but I'm just going to go dark horse win. I'm going to go dark horse win. I'm going to go for it. Josh Berry.
It's a pretty reasonable prediction right there.
Reasonable prediction. I know his teammates are, besides Sam Mayer, are showing him up right now, but Josh Berry is a guy who's done good at some of the intermediates, so he's not a guy you can count out. I think he'll do pretty well. I'm going to go Josh Berry.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The Cup Series, this is where it gets really intense. To start it all off, this is rare. You'll rarely ever hear me do this. My dark horse is Joey Logano. That is a rare dark horse for me.
You even congratulated him on his top 5 finish at Darlington.
Yeah.
That's why I gave you the weird face earlier.
Logano did get a top 5. He got the pole. I really hope he didn't, but he's running really good, and he's proven my point on being a Championship 4 contender. I don't want him to be a Championship 4 contender, but you've got to face the facts.
Yep.
Try not to be biased, and you have to be the same way about Ty Gibbs too in the Xfinity Series.
No, I will never.
But
in my heart, he will always run last place.
That's how I feel about Logano, but unfortunately, he won't this time. Joey Logano is my dark horse. Not only a dark horse for the race, but he's also going to be locked in to the next round. By the race is over, he'll be locked in.
Yeah.
My driver to stay away from. This is where he starts to fall down. I'm between two drivers, but I see more on this guy. Well, that guy's more expected. I want to try to do something different. I'm going to go Alex Bowman. I say this is where...
It makes sense.
It's where he starts to fall down. The other one's just obvious. I want to try something different. I think you figure out who I'm talking about, but when you know, you know. My driver to win, though, he'll be fine. I think it's Kyle Larson.
Oh, really?
He got second in the spring race to Kurt Busch, who had a really dominant car. I think he would have been the guy I would have picked to win if he was still in the playoffs. But Kyle Larson is still pretty good at Kansas. Despite the next gen car, he's still good at Kansas. I think Larson will be able to rebound and will be able to win at Kansas.
It's funny of how you said, if you know, you know, and then I just immediately scroll to Christopher Bell and highlight his name, thinking that you're going to pick him.
The you know is to Austin Dillon to be the guy who won't run well.
No.
Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I meant on that. That's why I wanted to challenge instead of Alex Bowman instead of like saying the obvious with Austin Dillon.
Right.
Could have just been an asshole and said Austin Cindric, but no, I was nice.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Which I changed that now.
No, you didn't. And you're not changing that. You're not changing that while I'm wearing an Austin Cindric shirt and an Austin Cindric hat.
Why the hell did it go quiet again?
That's 4.
Usually it would make a sound for me when it starts to go, but now it's just doing it off random.
Without warning. That's funny. But alrighty, as Wyatt takes a big chug of the beer that he absolutely thinks is disgusting. Look at that face. Look at that stink face. Anyways, in the meantime, it's my turn. So here we go. For my driver to win, I'm 100% agreeing on Zane Smith here. Because mile and a half, yes, he won a mile and a half, but let's be real here. The Kansas race earlier this year, he dominated that race. Completely dominated that. Somebody said it was a Mickey Mouse win. No, it wasn't. If he dominated the damn thing and won it, that's not a Mickey Mouse win. That is winning in convincing fashion.
A Mickey Mouse win is what Kyle Busch did at the Bristol Dirt Race, and let's not. Well, I can't really say that about Austin Dillon. If he won it in the rain, that would be a Mickey Mouse win. But he actually continued it and still won the race. I'm not really going to count that one.
Still don't like the way he did it though. Anyways,
but
the driver to stay away from. Oh boy, this is gonna be tough. Do I want to go with the prediction that hurts? Do I want to go with one that I feel like is possible? Hurt or possibility?
I'd say hurt.
Don't make me choose hurt. I don't want to. I really don't want to.
You know you want to pick it.
Possibility. Matt Crafton. It's going to be the driver to stay away from. You knew who I meant by hurt.
I think I did. Oh no. I just realized it now. I went with a different reason on that one. I went with different reason on hurt. But I just got what you meant. Your hurt was Hocevar, wasn't it?
My homeboy.
You want to know who I thought your hurt was?
Who did you think my hurt was?
Ben Rhodes.
No.
No. Here's the reason why. He hasn't been doing a lot. Like, he hasn't been running good lately like he was. Regular season champion. So, I mean, that would hurt him. All that points up and then get eliminated. Kind of get what I mean?
Yeah, I understand, but that's not who I meant, as you figured out.
But you should pick Hocevar. Anyways, Xfinity.
No, I'm not. I'm never ever gonna choose Hocevar unless if I feel it makes logical sense. Which it kind of does, but I'm still not doing it. Because he's my homeboy. I love my homeboy. Anyways, for Dark Horse.
Didn't a different homeboy win today? Or yesterday? Or
Yes.
Home State boy?
Yes. Byron is actually, I think it's like closer to Grand. Let me look at them. I'll look at the map later, but I think it's close to Grand Rapids. It has to be. Byron is close to Grand Rapids, which is probably about an hour out. But anyways, Dark Horse. Chandler Smith is going to be my Dark Horse.
That's a good Dark Horse.
He has been doing so well. I mean, ever since the regular season finale, he just fired right out of a gate. And just out of nowhere. Here he is. He's in your face all the time.
And let's not forget, and I think we mentioned this before, both Smiths are having a really good season, better than last year. They both might be contenders to win. They'll be contenders to win this championship.
Oh, 1,000,000%. 1,000,000%. Here we go with Xfinity. Driver to win. I am going to say my winner pick is going to be... I'm going to say... I don't know if you'll agree with me on this. You might. Justin Allgaier, I think, is going to be my driver to win.
That's an iffy one.
It depends. I mean, really, yeah. It sounds iffy because of the way he's been, like his performances have gone recently. But he's done. I mean, with tracks that are around that 1.5 mile radius, you gotta admit he hasn't done half bad.
My thing is, like, you list off Kansas, and he's probably got like a top 5 here and there, but you really never hear him compete for a win. So that's kind of my thing on that, but I'll run with you on it. I'll run with you, but it's like that's an if you want even for me.
Well, if you run with me, you'll have to keep up with me. I'm kidding.
My guy's ahead of your guy, so it's fine.
Well, anyways, driver to stay away from. My driver to stay away from. I'm not gonna pick him. It was only just one race. I think for my driver to stay away from, I'm gonna. I feel like I gotta pick him, even if it might not make the most sense. I'm really not having a lot of faith in Landon Castle.
Yeah, he was a name I was kind of
iffy about.
I've been kind of thinking about that too, and his teammate, you said Castle, right?
Yeah.
It's starting to lag a bit.
Oh, uh-oh. That's another one. What is that, 5? Uh-oh. What if he's you're running on your hotspot? I think he's running on his hotspot. I think. Yeah. I think his internet turned to doo-doo. It has done the kablooey. If he's on hotspot, it has turned to cold. You running on hotspot?
Yeah, the hotspot. It's like, I don't know what the hell just happened with the hotspot.
Yeah, your hotspot's turning cold.
Hey, I ain't got no internet right now, so hotspot's the only thing keeping me afloat. But that caught me off guard. I have to look at that one because I was trying to say something like you were frozen, like you were slowly moving. I'm like, what's going on?
But yeah,
I left. It still showed did that little lag thing with both people in the call. Like, what the hell?
Yeah, I did say Castle. Castle.
you think about him and his teammate. There are guys that, like, you mess up, you'll have a hungry Creed to jump up there, and maybe even Sieg as well. So I do agree with that one. I like that.
Which, speaking of Sheldon Creed, he is my dark horse.
Yeah, understandable.
He is my dark horse. He's fired out of a gate like I said before. That 2 team has flipped a switch, and we're starting to see the Sheldon Creed we got to know and love in the Truck Series when it comes down to the competitive side, because he's gotten used to this Xfinity car, and by golly, it looks like he's starting to go places.
100%.
All right, it's time for the Cup Series. Oh boy. I think I'm not sure what direction to take this. I'm really not. I'm unsure. I think let's see. Driver to win. He very well could win. The possibilities of this happening. Tyler Reddick. I'm picking him as the driver to win.
I like that pick. I was when you were saying that he was the first driver, I thought of too.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick is a really good pick.
Absolutely. Driver to stay away from. I think I'm gonna have to back you up on Alex Bowman, personally. Top 10. Yeah, that's great. But you only got 9 races left if you make it that far. I really don't think one top 10 is going to aid you throughout the round 1. If you get another one, great. But I think just one top 10 is just show. Ironically enough, for the show, man.
I was going to say something along those lines too.
But, just if he gets a top 10 or if we want to go that far, if he wins, great. But I'm not having a lot of faith in that right now.
Agreed.
Here's a dark horse for you. A dark horse that I have for you. I bring to you on my plate, Ryan Blaney.
I was thinking about him too. I was thinking about him when I made my dark horse. That's a really good dark horse.
I mean, let's be real. I've said it while we were making our predictions. Pure consistency. Those are the 2 key words that I brought up in my championship prediction when I picked him to win the title for this season. Pure consistency is written all over Ryan Blaney. You've seen it all throughout this year. No matter how many times he's come close to winning, he's been quiet. He's been consistent. He's been right there. He even squeaked. He was consistent in the regular season finale and squeaked his way in. He squeaked in.
Think about this for a minute. Think about the 2 tracks we're coming up on. Kansas and Bristol. For Kansas, I don't really remember a whole lot, but I think he's gotten a good, at least top 10s here and there. Bristol, there's been a couple times he's led that race. Never actually got it done, but that's a track, if he's good and consistent, I think he's still going to get locked in by Kansas. It's a really good race. I think Kansas is a lock-in for him. Mm-hmm. If not, probably first stage Bristol. Nothing happens, but just think about this for a minute. That is a really good dark horse pick, and I do like that.
Yeah. Well, alrighty, Wyatt. We've gotten everything we needed to off the table. Any final thoughts before we get this Kansas weekend underway?
Let's all this playoff craziness unfold. Let's see what other crazy conundrums happens, especially in the Cup Series.
Especially in Cup. But, yeah, that pretty much is going to do it for episode 15 of GTN. I want to thank you guys a lot for watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify. For on Spotify, be sure to follow us. That way you don't miss a single episode that comes out in the near future. At least the replays, at least. But as far as on YouTube's concerned, if you like this, be sure to give it a like. And if you haven't considered subscribing yet, I recommend you do so in order to keep up with some fine content coming out in the near future. And that pretty much does it for us. On behalf of Wyatt Walker, I'm Elijah Leonard signing out. Have a good night, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
See you later.